Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sah Viryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Samasta Janakalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram. So who's going to do the recap? I think it's Shruti, right?
Ji. So last week we covered the remainder of chapter 9 and little bit and the chapter 10, that is Vibhuti Yoga. So in chapter 9, Bhagwan gives a very comforting message that any of his devotee that worships him will never perish. As long as they are all fulfilling their following the bhakti yoga or gnana yoga, karma yoga, they are not going to perish. In verse 29, that is shloka 29, Bhagwan says that I have no partiality towards anyone. I do not favor anyone. I'm available to all. Those who worship me, they are all in me and I am in them. And that creates the environment of being ekatma. In verse 31, shloka 31 further, Bhagwan tells Arjun that once a bhakt opens their heart, I make sure that I provide path, create anukul vatavaran for that person to become virtuous and attain peace. Not only that, the bhakti marg or the sadhana will also never perish. This is the very reason why all the Upanishads are even alive today. Shashiji gave an example of Bhakta Prahlad and Mirabai's bhakti. Those are the examples that tell us that this marg is imperishable. In shloka 32, Lord further reiterates that my path is open for all. Here, we also talked about Prakriti being a feminine term, and that it should not be considered singled out to a woman. Gita is a universal scripture, and its teachings hold good for all times and all human beings. We should not even remotely think that it is secretly promoting any intolerance. Spiritual practices help bring integrity of mind and intellect, and that helps us to attain divinity. Shashiji further took us in the journey of Vibhuti Yoga. The Vibhuti Yoga, chapter 9, and seeing. So I'm skipping one couple of verses over here, so I'll go back to that. But giving an example of our children who are in college and the unnecessary worry that we do, Shashiji also talked to us about the deep attachments, the expectations, the fear of loss, worries without thinking about their implications. That is the characteristics that is described as a feminine character, feminine term called raga. So like that, there are many other things like laziness, materialism. These are also some of the stumbling blocks that come across us in our lives. And Lord says that if you are struggling with all this, and if you come to me with that, with an open heart, I will help you flourish. I will help you get out of these worries. So um, we as women, we can certainly understand Gita just like anybody else, and we can fight for what we need and what we want. and we will um, we will achieve our goals once we put our heart into trying to get to the goal. So in verse 34, Bhagwan also shows a little bit of a secret and tells that once we give up our ego, develop humility, worship God, love God, you will reach your goal. You will reach the Bhagwan. You will develop that ekatmata with the God. This is what we need in our lives today. We need to reach our goal. We dedicate ourselves to achieve our goal for our desires. In short, in chapter 9, it talks about Rajavedya, this greatest knowledge, the greatest secret is very purifying, and it will bring that inner transformation within us. This will lead us to increase in the purity, the devotion, spirit of service and dedication, like an eccentric circle. Like rather than having a concentric goal of just me and myself, when we think about the circle around us, develop these qualities within us, that difference, that purity, that devotion is going to make a difference, not only in our life, in our family's life, and we bring our family together, our society together, our community together, and the end result is going to be imperishable and infinite. Further, Shashiji took us in the journey of Vibhuti Yoga, that is chapter 10, seeing in all. Sri Bhagwan in the first verse of the chapter tells Arjun that what I am going to tell you, my lovely friend, is going to be for your own good. It's for your well-being and you will love it. I am that one source from where everything comes, whether it be joy, sorrow, thoughts, strengths, all comes because of me. But he also explains that not many people know about this. In Shloka 7, Bhagwan explains Vibhuti, yoga, and further mentions that a person that understands this is united with Avikampena yoga. Vibhuti means something glorious that is there. And yoga is connecting back to Paramatma in me. So if we open our eyes and understand that Bhagwan alone is manifesting it all, and if we close our eyes and we understand that we are with Paramatma, this is the stage that is Avikampana Yoga. Calmness, purity, we attain vision of oneness, love and compassion. And then service becomes our second nature. Bhagwan says to Arjun that Arjun, if you start appreciating me everywhere, you will get knowledge of your true nature. And further overwhelmed Arjun now requests Bhagwan, please show me your glory, Bhagwan. And he promises to show some examples from history, literature, and nature. Examples like Bhakta Prahlad, Avichal Ganga, Himalaya, the vast ocean, Sri Ram, Kirti, Vani, Shri, Smriti, Medha, Dhriti. These are some of the uh, glories that Bhagwan shows to Arjuna during these 42 verses of Vibhuti Yoga. So basically, there is no end to Bhagwan's glory. Bhagwan says that I only told you a few of these. So in general, chapter 10 helps us to manifest God's glory everywhere, all around us. Wherever we see, we can find Bhagwan.
Good job,
Shashiji,
Shruti.
yeah,
Excellent. Very
thank
good.
you.
All right. Okay, so we move on now to the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and here it is Vishwarupa Darshana. There we saw that same God in everything in the Vibhuti Yoga. Seeing one in all was Vibhuti Yoga, and here it is seeing all in one. Okay, so Bhagwan wants us to make sure that we understand that we are all from this one source. That's the key here. So now, what are the take-home messages from this chapter? See, while we see diversity all the time, while we see differences all the time, Bhagwan wants us to see that opposites, pairs of opposite, will coexist. There's nothing you can do. This is it. So beauty and ugliness will be there. Life and death cannot be separated. If there is birth, there has to be death as well. So accepting dualities should become something that we can do in our equanimous mind. We have to, attain that balance. And when here we'll see that even when you think of war, that would have started at an individual level. So how important it is to keep our mental level connected to that oneness becomes, very obvious. And when you see everything in one, so it means that even the creator Brahmaji, who sits, with the Chaturmukha Brahma, that Brahmaji plus a creature has come from that one source alone. This is something that becomes very obvious. So, what it means to us is we have to have a holistic vision and lead a whole life. And we have to learn to be that instrument of that Bhagwan. Wherever we are, we have to do our duties, fulfill our roles and responsibilities with that love. That love is our worship of Bhagwan. So, this is the message that will come to us as we study this chapter. It's a beautiful, some beautiful quotes are there, and you can, look it up. But I just love this. I'm but a speck of dust in this vast universe. But don't think you're just a speck. We're also a star. In this infinite world, we think we're small, but, that's from our minute perspective. But, in fact, we can be the whole universe as well. We matter. Don't ever think small of yourself. There's so much more to us, too. Okay, so now what happened in the last chapter? Bhagwan had said this. He said, Vishtabhyam ahamidam kritsna me kamshena stito jagat. He says, what all I've explained in this Vibhuti Yoga, all my glories, they're just a fraction of me, fraction of myself, because I essentially pervade everything. I can't explain everything to you. Now Arjuna became very curious. He said, this is just a fraction, then I want to see the whole thing. I want to see that whole thing, Bhagwan. I want to see you in totality, right? And so, Bhagwan, please, please do something so that I can see that. So, when he says that, Arjuna says in a very beautiful, again, many of these shlokas have some very special things, and that's why I choose some of them to show it to you. Please repeat after me. मन्यसे यदि मन्यसे यदि तच्चक्यं
मन्यसे यदि तच्चक्यम्
मया द्रष्टुमिति प्रभो
मया द्रष्टुमिति प्रभो
योगेश्वर ततो मे त्वम्
योगेश्वर ततो मे त्वम्
दर्शयात्मानमव्ययम्
दर्शयात्मानम् अव्ययम्.
He addresses Bhagwan Krishna here in two ways. He says, Bhagwan, first he says, just show me. Then he says, oh, am I capable of seeing that form? Am I eligible to see that form? Am I qualified? So he says, Bhagwan, if you think I'm ready, okay, Manya say, okay, if you feel I'm, qualified to see, he says, please show me that form of yours, which includes everything. And he calls him as Yogeshwara and he calls him Prabhu. What a smart thing, because he wants to make sure he sees. So what does he say? Prabhu means somebody who's all capable. Okay, all capable. If you're all capable, you certainly can make me see. That's the first thing. And then Yogeshwara means you are the one who brought this entire creation with your power, right? So you really cannot say, I cannot show. You're all capable and you can. So please, you must show me. That's basically it. Bhagwan can't give any excuses. So I can't show you. You can't say, neither can you say, I cannot show you. You certainly can show. What a beautiful thing Arjuna says. Make sure that he sees this. And in this, you see, the 11th chapter, the principle we are to understand when you hear about something. Now, for example, let's just assume that Ranjani ji has gone to, Mumbai to check out some place where her, charity work might benefit. She's heard about it. So what is she going to do? I've heard about it, so I want to go see the place and see whether we can help here. That would be the one thing. Or if she has seen a place, she wants to really make sure, if she's understood everything about a place, she would want to go see it also. So understanding and seeing and understanding will go hand in hand. Then when you do that in totality, she'll say, this is perfect. We have to contribute something through our, organization for this place as well. So then only you'll feel good. So it's like that for Arjuna too. He says, if I want to not, I've understood all this, but I really want to see it now. Then I'll feel like, aha, this is it. So this is the reason he's asking. Now Bhagwan Krishna is of course very, very happy. He loves his friend Arjuna. He wants to show him the cosmic form. And all of a sudden Bhagwan reveals, and his cosmic form. He says, see in me, Arjuna, see these thousands and millions, every form is here within me. And he says, okay, look at all these Adityas, look at all these, Marudkarnas and Rudras, all those Devatas, all of them are right here. And Arjuna's like, where? What are you talking about? I don't see a thing. And then Bhagwan suddenly realizes, with the vision Arjuna has right now, he can't see anything. I have to grant him a special vision. So what Bhagwan says is, okay, Arjuna, he says, Natu mam shakyase drashtum.
Natu mam shakyase drashtum.
Anenaiva swachakshusha.
Anenaiva swachakshusha.
Divyam dadami te chakshuhu.
Divyam dadami te chakshuhu.
Pashyame yogamaishwaram.
Pashyame yogamaishwaram.
Bhagwan says, I have to give you a special vision. Special vision so that you can see what I'm trying to show this. This entire thing that I want to show you, the whole cosmos within me. If you have to see that, you need a special vision. Okay? And all of a sudden you see what Bhagwan sees, Arjuna sees. He sees the entire cosmos within Bhagwan. Now this Divya Drishti, people have a lot of, comments, trees will be there. You'll see different opinions. Whether really Arjuna could see a huge form and everything in that Bhagwan, whether he saw that, or whether it was a Jnana Chakshu, meaning understanding, clear understanding. You know what I mean? It's like we need very subtle intellect to understand certain things. Our intellect, our mind should become so quiet, then only we can grasp certain things, right? Like that, Bhagwan might have said he really might need a very subtle nature of understanding so he can understand what I'm trying to tell him, versus Bhagwan might have shown him everything too. That doesn't matter. What we really have to understand is Arjuna got the vision. The totality of that vision, he got it. And with that vision, he could understand what the real truth of life was. He understood. So not only he got the totality, he understood. Okay, so that's the key here. Okay, now you see, let's see, each chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is a yoga, connecting us to something. So lifting us from where we are to elevating our vision. We're not supposed to be remaining at a level always. We're supposed to keep moving up and up in ourselves, in our spiritual path as well. So this divine vision for us, now you see, what does that mean to us? Presently our vision, or as I told you in the beginning itself, is, yes, we see differences everywhere, but that differences immediately brings within us divisions and all kinds of distinctions. And with those type of thinking, we develop likes, we develop dislikes, and based on that, all our actions, all our activities. You just analyze one small thing. whether it is eating one particular type of food, which is innocuous. I'm not saying it's bad, but it can be big. It can be big. So when we have likes and dislikes and our actions, activities are based on that, that can lead, to problems not only at an individual level, but in the, larger picture as well. So seeing differences is not a problem. But then having likes and dislikes and then getting the divisive vision is definitely a problem. So we have to what this particular chapter is going to show, that look, there's this underlying oneness and beyond all this diversity we see. So the cosmic form is to reveal, to reverse that divisive vision and show that unity. That's the beauty of this. And then I'll tell you, this is so well brought out by many of these astronauts and cosmonauts who go to space. It's like us. We live in our house and we're so important in this, we're playing a very important role. And then you go to that Google map and look at your, home. It's like a teeny speck somewhere. And in that, what does it matter? Our place. And then you look at these people who've gone into space and looked at Mother Earth. So many things fall off at that time. So this quote, these beautiful quotes you'll see for people who've seen Earth from space, the experience changes perspective. What we share in this world is so much more important than what divides us. And then another astronaut said, the first day, all of them were pointing out to, this is our country, this is my country, this is our country, as they passed around in their spaceship. Afterwards, they say, hey, look at Asia, look at America, right? After that, they said, this is just our Mother Earth. That's it, our home. So fragile, floating in space. I mean, you should see you should read some of their comments. It's beautiful and just makes us aware of how blessed we are to be of this, part of this beautiful planet of ours. Division goes away. This is what cosmic vision is doing to us. So Arjuna then, very, astounded, starts saying, Arjuna uvacha.
Arjuna Uvacha
Pashyami devanstava devadehe.
Pashyami Devamstava Devadehe
Sarvanstatha bhuta vishesha sanghan.
Sarvanstatha Bhuta Visesa Sanghan
Brahmanamisham kamalasanaस्थम.
Brahmanamisam Kamalasanastha
Rishinscha sarvan uraganscha divyan.
Rushingscha Sarvanurangascha Divyan.
So he says, I see all these countless things within you, Bhagwan. I see countless forms. They're not only these devatas, I see all kinds of beings. I see the creator Brahmaji. They're fascinating, they're charming. And then there's brilliance coming from that Lord. And thousands of sun as though had risen at the same time. He was awestruck. He says, not only do I see the creator Brahmaji, I see creatures like even the serpents and the great celestial serpents like Vasuki too. He saw all of them. And as he was just enjoying everything, seeing the brilliance of everything, slowly it looked like Bhagwan was shifting channels. Okay? Shifting channels and showing something more frightening. Initially, Arjuna was like, it's so beautiful. And all of a sudden, it looked like, the television channel suddenly changed without his awareness. Right? And he saw something fierce, something terrible coming out of that Bhagwan. There was fire emanating from his mouth. Right? And then all of a sudden he said, where is the beginning? Where is the end? I don't see the middle of this fearful, expression. Right? And all of a sudden he said, my goodness, the whole world, all the creatures, all the people, all the siddhas, they're all trembling. Some are transfixed in fear. And then he says, oh my goodness, I don't want to see this. I don't want to see this anymore. But Bhagwan didn't stop. Bhagwan did not stop. He looked even more terrible. And then Arjuna was really frightened. And then in all this, Arjuna's realization came, this is not just an ordinary, my little Krishna, my friend, he realized this was the Lord, the source of this universe that he was seeing. And he saw, as I said, Siddha Purushas were bowing down to him. Others were frightened and trying to run away but couldn't get anywhere because everything was in him. And still others were transfixed in fear, terrible form. And then as he was looking, he saw all the Kauravas entering into the mouth of this Lord. There was even his father, Grand Pitamaha, Bhishma, his teacher, Drona, all of the Kauravas, even Karna, Jayadratha, everybody entering into this mouth and being destroyed. Not only that, his own people were also entering into the Lord's mouth and were getting destroyed. And Bhagwan said, look, Arjuna, look at all of them rushing into me. They're already gone. Their fate is already sealed. Just like rivers rushing into the ocean, or even these moths. I'm sure all of you have seen it in India. When it's a rainy season, you go near any street light lamp, there'll be so many moths. And I don't know why, but they're attracted to the light. And as they go near it, they drop their wings and they fall dead. Right? Like moths, they're rushing to me. And seeing all this, Arjuna he was so scared, he didn't want to see any more of this. So he says, आख्याहि मे को भवानुग्ररूपः
आख्याहि मे को भवान् उग्ररूपः
नमोऽस्तु ते देववर प्रसीद
नमोऽस्तु देववर प्रसीद
विज्ञातुमिच्छामि भवन्तमाद्यम्
विद्यातुम् इच्छामि भवन्तमध्यम्
न हि प्रजानामि तव प्रवृत्तिम्
न हि प्रजानामि तव प्रवृत्तिम्.
Says, Bhagavan, who are you? Who are you? I don't recognize you. What is this intent of yours to show me this? I don't understand. What are you up to? What do you want to do? Now, this is the Vishwarupa Darshana, where not only you see the good, but also you see all the things which we immediately associate with negatives, right? Within the Lord, everything is happening, right? We saw what was very charming, and so of course Arjuna loved it. And slowly Bhagwan is showing his Ugra Rupa as well, saying, look at the world in totality. Don't look at it in isolation. So this is a message, very important message for us. This study that we're doing of any of the scriptures, which is essence of Vedanta, right? Vedanta is Upanishads. We are studying the essence of the Upanishads in the Bhagavad Gita. This is going to show us to see life as a whole, not in fragments. This is what we're doing right now. What Lord is trying to show us is, if we are rejoicing at the time of birth, accept death. Accept death. It's going to happen, right? Prosperity and poverty will coexist, meaning you'll have a role to play, and if you have a role to play, you do that, because they'll be there. These disparities will be there, right? Beauty, ugliness, yes, ups and downs, part of life. So see life in totality. Life cannot be all good. So our mind should become more and more balanced, so that when our mind is balanced, we can remain calm and we can actually bring out the best in us. If we get agitated, reactive to every situation, we cannot bring our best. And here in this world, we are placed to do our best, right? So now this Vishwarupa Darshana is teaching us some important messages. If we say, I love somebody, learn to accept them completely. Don't keep fault finding in somebody and say, I love you. Just like when you take medicines, we accept side effects, right? Don't we? And we take something else to counteract that. What can you do? That's something that we do, right? Not fighting at every point. And as I said, be very careful of our own mental makeup, because if we keep harboring hatred, negativities, and all these things, believe me, any war starts at an individual level. So criticisms, likes and dislikes, jealousy and hatred can all become seeds for war. And when we see war, of course there'll be peace movements also. So when we start seeing all these dualities, accepting that they are part of what is life, and then we play our role, our life becomes a game, a strategic game where we can decide what we want to do to contribute to the best. Now, Bhagwan, when Arjuna was so frightened and asks, "Who are you?" gives a very powerful answer, which has been quoted by Robert Oppenheimer, who was one of the persons who invented the nuclear bomb, and the atomic bomb blast was experimented somewhere, I think, in the United States before it was used in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Just seeing that, just hearing about it, or seeing that, he was so shaken. He actually quoted this shloka of Bhagavad Gita. He said, "It reminds me when in the Gita it is said that the Lord," and please repeat after me, Shri Bhagavanuvacha
Shri Bhagavanuvacha
Kalosmi Lokakshayakrit Pravruddhaha
Kalosmi Lokakshayakrit Pravriddha
Lokan Samahartum Iha Pravruttaha
Lokan Samahrutam Iha Pravatyaha
Ritepi Tvam Na Bhavishyanti Sarve
Ritepi Tvami Na Bhavishyantu Sarve
Yovastitha Pratyanikeshu Yodhaha.
Yovastita Pratyanikeshu Yodaha
Then please repeat the next one too. Tasmat Tvamuttishta Yasho Labhasva
Tasmat Tvam Uttishta Yasho Labhashva
Jitva Shatrun Bhungshva Rajyam Samruddham
Jitva Shatrun Bhunksha Rajam Samruddham
Mayaivaite Nihata Purvameva
Maya Vaite Nihata Purvam Eve
Mayaivaite Nihata Purvameva
Maya Vaite Nihata Purvam
Eva
Eva
Nimittamatram Bhava Savyasachin.
Nimittamatram Bhavasavya Sachin.
He says, "I'm Kalosmi. I'm time. Time waits for nobody. I've come as death to destroy everybody. I've come to devour all of them." That's what time does. In time, everything passes. I've come as time to devour everything. You wanted to know my intention? I've taken this form to destroy all these people. Meaning Bhagavan has come for dharma samstapana, okay, at that time. And you said, Arjuna, you thought, right? Sorry. I have a class. Okay. Thank you, Rama. I'll be out. Okay. So, where he says, Ritepi Tvam Na Bhavishyanti Sabi, even without you, their fate has been decided. I can accomplish my mission, they will all be finished. All these warriors who are standing in front of you, their days are numbered. Okay, their days are numbered. So they're already dead in spite of you. So you get up, you fight, you win over your enemies, and you get the glory after that. I have decided their fate already. So just be an instrument in my hand. Be an instrument. Huh? All these great warriors, this Bhishma, Drona, already their fate is done. Don't doubt. You're sure to win. In life, what we should understand is we have a great sense of doership. We think we are doing everything, but life is happening in spite of us. So for Arjuna, he says, Nimitta matram bhava savyasachin. What a beautiful thing. Savyasachin means Arjuna was very good at using bow and arrow with his left hand. Okay, so he says, be an instrument, just my instrument. Just my instrument. So, in life, what happens is we also, as I said, we have to do our duties where we are placed fulfill our roles and responsibilities. We can't shirk our responsibilities. For the Kauravas, what had sealed their fate was that they'd done so many things leading up to this point, right? But then they sealed their fate when they disrobed Draupadi. That is it. They invited this, right? If, for example, if let's just think there is a death sentence still prevailing in certain places of the world or whatever, now when somebody has done a crime and has been proven in court of law, now if that person is given the death sentence, the person who administers the final thing is not held responsible. Neither the judge is held responsible for passing the judgment. The day that person committed that crime, that's it. He sealed his fate. So Bhagwan's kindness was that he showed Arjuna this form and what was going to happen in the future. Now, for us, we have to be an instrument. We have a great sense of doership, and as I said, in spite of what we think we're doing, things are going to happen, and when we leave, things will still be going on as if there was no break. Seamlessly, things go on. We should not shirk from our duties, and we should look at it as a privilege that we have this ability to do this. So where we are, let's do our best based on our roles and responsibilities. So now Arjuna very beautifully says this wonderful shloka. He says, Arjuna uvacha.
Arjuna uvacha.
Sthane Rishikesha tava prakirtya.
Sthane Rishikesha tava prakitya.
Jagat prahrishyati anurajyate cha.
Jagat prahrishyati anurajyate cha.
Rakshansi bhitani disho dravanti.
Rakshamsi bhitani disho dhravanti.
Sarve namasyanti cha siddhasi sangaha.
Sarve namasyanti cha siddha sanghaha.
Sthane, that's a very beautiful word. Sthane Rishikesha. Bhagwan, everything is as it should be. I understand now. I understand there is a law, and it'll go according to that law. Seeing the totality, before he was unaware of what was in the past, what's going to come in the future, and even the present, it's hard to understand. But now when I see the whole picture, I understand everything is as it should be. So, of course, the evildoers will be punished. The siddhas will prostrate to you, right? And Bhagwan, I see that there's no one greater than you. When we see things from very narrow standpoint, that's when we criticize. That's when we, call this is right, this is wrong. So when a situation, you see the situation has come where all the forces have come together. The cause is already there, building up. How can you stop it? If people start hating each other, a fight is sure to happen. Right or wrong, it's going to happen because the cause is there. Hatred is already there. If a person overeats, although we keep saying don't do that, if they suffer, obviously it's thane. If we fail because we did not study, it's thane. If a person is leading a noble and virtuous life and is peaceful, it's thane. If a person gets drunk and goes behind the wheel of a car, if she causes an accident, it's also thane. It's thane. It's going to happen. There's no doubt. I understand. Everything is going as it should. There seems to be a law. This is happening because there is a law. I understand that now. And then suddenly he feels, oh my God, what did I do all these days? I looked at this Lord who's here, in whom everything is being, happening, this Bhagwan who I didn't even understand. And I looked at him, at my, little friend Krishna, my cousin whom I could say anything. And beautifully in the shlokas, Arjuna expresses his, what he had done to the Lord, how he took such liberties with the Lord, and then asked for forgiveness. So very beautifully he says, Sakheti matva prasabham yaduktam.
Sakheti matva prasabham yuduktam.
He Krishna, he Yadava, he Sakheti.
हे कृष्ण हे यादव हे सखेति
अजानता महिमान्तवेदम्. Sorry.
अजानता महिमानं तवेदम्
मया प्रसादात् प्रणयेन वापि
मया प्रसादा प्रणयेन वापि
यच्छावहासार्थमसत्कृतोऽसि
यच्छावहासार्थमसत्कृतोऽसि
विहारशय्यासनभोजनेषु
विहारशय्यासनभोजनेषु
एकोऽथवाप्यच्युत तत्समक्षम्
एको तथा ततस्मक्षम्
तक्षामये त्वाम् अहम् अप्रमेयम्
तत्क्षामये त्ववामः मप्रयेयम्.
Yeah, some of these, Sanskrit words, it's okay. So, Bhagwan, what did I do? I thought you were just my ordinary buddy. And I called you all kinds of, names. Hey, come on here, Krishna. Hey, Yadava. Yadava belonging to that Yadukula. Hey, Yadava, come here. I called you all these. Hey, friend, come along, man. This is what he called the Lord, he says, carelessly. Okay, sometimes out of love, sometimes this, familiarity. And then I teased you. I made fun of you, right? And sometimes I said, go fetch me this. And sitting at lunch or whatever, I, made fun, right? I insulted you in front. Sometimes I made fun of you in front, and sometimes in your back also I've said some things. He says, please, please forgive me. Bhagwan, it's your greatness that you've not actually made big of all this. You please bear with me. You be like that forgiving father. Father will always forgive. Or that best friend who will always forgive. Or that beloved who always forgives and forgets. Please, please, you do that to me, he says. And then he says, enough of this Ugra Rupa. It's scaring me too much. I know you're devouring everybody and you're Kala, but I'm scared. I want to see you as like that compassionate Vishnu, that beloved Vishnu. And so he says, Kiritinam Gadinam Chakrahastam
किरीटिनं गदिनं चक्रहस्तम्
Ichhami Tvam Drashtumaham Tathaiva
इच्छामि त्वां द्रष्टुमहं तथैव
Naiva Rupena Chaturbhujena
तेनैव रूपेण चतुर्भुजेन
सहस्रबाहो भव विश्वमूर्ते.
सहस्रबाहो भव विश्वमूर्ते.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you for showing me something very extraordinary. Okay. But I'm afraid now. Enough. Please withdraw this Ugra Rupa of yours. Enough. Right? Please show me that compassionate Vishnu who's, I'm very familiar with that Bhagwan. With, these four arms and the Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma. With that, you please show me that form. It is like that. How you're so excited when you want to get on your first flight. Oh my goodness. You just can't believe you'll be flying with amidst the clouds. But God forbid, they say the oxygen masks are dropping and you please wear your mask. Something's happening. You know how fearful we'll be. So everything was beautiful when you showed me, but now enough is enough. You please show me your familiar form, okay? I don't want to see any more of this, he says. And then Bhagwan, he says, Bhagwan says a very beautiful thing here. He says, I've shown you something which not many people can see. I hope I didn't miss a shloka. Okay. Bhaktya tvananyaya shakya
भक्ता तनयनान् शक्य
ahamevam vidhorjuna
अह एवं विदोऽर्जुना
jnatum drashtum cha tatvena
यातुं द्रष्टुं च तत्त्वेन
praveshtum cha parantapa.
प्रवेष्टुं तुम च प्रणतप
Parantapa.
परन्तप.
Okay. He says, Bhagwan very compassionately says, Arjuna, I love you. You are my dearest friend, my dearest devotee. You surrendered to me. So, you know what? Out of this love, I've shown you this form, not easy to see. Even people might have done lots of Vedic rituals, they might have given so much for charity. Unless you have love, this is the key ingredient. Unless you have love, you would not see this. And I've not shown this to anybody. Maybe my Yashoda got a glimpse of it in your mouth, in my mouth, when he was a little kid. He says, and immediately changes to a form which, Arjuna can connect with. But he says, when can somebody see this? We can see this. When can we see it? When you have this Ananya Bhakti. No otherness, just this Lord. So what it means to us is whatever we do, when you start doing it with that love, that secret ingredient of love, you see what happens. That love connects you to that higher. Your mind becomes calm. You connect with the higher in us, that Lord in us, and we actually understand that Lord, and we become one with it. This is the secret. So love is a key ingredient. And we practice some of that in our ninth chapter too. When we do any action, just thinking of this oneness itself, how it makes our mind calm, how you feel good about everything. This is, bringing love to every action. And we will be able to see the benefits of this. So Bhagavan says, you do all your actions dedicated to me, meaning bring that calmness, bring that understanding that there is nothing other than that one Lord everywhere, and that's whom I'm serving. And therefore you won't have any other focus. I'm serving this person who I like, this person I do. Nothing will happen then. This is you're just serving that Lord everywhere. And when you do that, that's your focus, right? Such people who have no enmity towards anybody. Nirvaira sarva bhuteshu. They have no enmity to that person. They will reach me. They will reach me. So this Vishwarupa Darshan is a beautiful chapter which is teaching us to look at life as a total, not in fragments. Don't do that, he says. Okay, so what for us? It is doing our duty where we are fulfilling our roles and responsibility as worship of that Lord. So some important messages we get is we have to learn to accept good and bad, meaning don't let your mind jump to constantly criticize and try to find, this is this is that. Let the mind be a little bit less reactive. Right? So in this way, we reduce our strong likes, strong dislikes, which will then, I told you, our actions are based on that afterwards. So very important. And then stop criticizing everything. Stop passing judgments. That serves us no good. And let us focus on commonality, not divisions. Amidst all this, let's not forget that we have a unique role to play here. And so in this beautiful planet, our Mother Earth, if we can serve even to whatever extent we can with humility, with gratitude for what we have received, and looking at every aspect of our life as a privilege that has been given to us. So we can do our very best right here. That's all we need. That's the secret to move to that place of strength in us, that place of unity, that reality, the truth, which is everywhere, everywhere. This is something that we can learn from these beautiful chapters on this Bhakti Marga, that Bhagavan is pointing. I wanted to conclude with that, a shloka by Hanumanji. I had promised to bring it last time. I did not remember. I apologize, Ranjani. But here is that beautiful shloka of Hanumanji to Sri Rama, when Bhagavan Rama looks at Hanumanji and says, "Who are you, Hanumanji?" And Hanumanji, without hesitation, says, "Deha drishtya tu daso aham, jiva drishtya tvadam shakam. Tattva drishtya tvamevaham iti me nischita matihi." He says, Bhagwan, as I look at me in this monkey form and you as this Bhagwan, Lord Rama sitting in front of me, I'm your dasa. So this is physical. But when you look at an individuality, I'm Jiva and you are that Paramatma. So we are part and whole relationship. That Paramatma includes everything. So I'm part. And if I look at from the Atma Tattva, eternal truth, there's no difference between you and me. This is my firm conviction, Hanumanji says. Such beautiful, beautiful messages. Anyway, I want to let you all know that have some break because of all the holidays that are coming and the New Year celebrations. And we'll take some break and we'll meet again on January 8th, which is a Saturday. And I wish you all a very happy, peaceful, and a healthy New Year. And God bless. And so today, in about few minutes, I have to take a flight, so I'll conclude, and we have about 5 to 10 minutes for any questions. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.